Hey guys, this is Chris. From university students coming together to bring down the house to people using various tech to beat machines. Join me as I reveal 10 people who tricked casinos. Number 10, the 21 Club. This sounds like a familiar story, one of college students in college debt. Nowadays, due to how colleges work on a large scale, many people find themselves in need of a lot of money to get an education that sometimes won't even be of much use. And so when you're a student, you usually worry about your money and will do just about anything you can to make your next tuition payment. So a Harvard professor named Bill Kaplan found and put together a group of college students from MIT who were proficient at math and could thus do a very basic thing to win at casinos: count cards in the game of blackjack. This is a famous and almost mythical technique, and it's one that they use to various effect in the game to win money from casinos. Now, before you go and say, wait a minute, isn't that cheating? Well, not so much. It's not an external device or rig that's helping anyone count the cards. It's just a person using their memory and ability to do complex probability equations to understand what cards might come up next. Even a non-MIT student can do that if they're dedicated enough. Now, usually one person doing this wouldn't make a lot of money, but because Kaplan had a team, he and they would go to various casinos and clean them out just by doing math. In one case, they made $400,000 in earnings in just one weekend. However, eventually the casinos caught on and they were banned from all of them for life. If this sounds like a familiar thing, that's because it should sound like a familiar thing. It was such a cool story that it was turned into a major Hollywood film that did surprisingly well at the box office. It was called 21. Number 9, Tommy Glenn Carmichael. If you think about it, the slot machines at casinos are both the best and worst machines at a casino. Because on one hand, you honestly do have a decent shot of making money if you're lucky, and there's no true skill involved in making it work. On average, the casino does win, but some people do get a lucky break and win big. You just put a coin in, pull a handle, and you're off to the races. But that's the trick. The casinos know that people think that way, so they put tons of these machines to lure people in, and of course get their money. Which is where Tommy Glenn Carmichael comes in, because he decided to just bypass all of that and make sure that he got a jackpot every single time. How so? He made a device that he would plug into the machine, and thus when he triggered the next rotation, it would give him a jackpot every single time. If you're seeing a flaw in this plan, don't worry, Tommy did too. He didn't just go from machine to rake in the money, he instead went and did various casinos and did this over and over. The casinos decided to upgrade their machinery so that this stroke of luck couldn't happen again. And then Tommy upgraded his gear and made it happen again. If he had stopped there, he probably would have been fine. But when the casinos made their slot machines truly unhackable, he just broke into one and stole the money, and they put him in jail as a result. Why didn't he quit while he was ahead? It sounds like pure greed to me. Would you have been able to stop yourself if you had a machine that always let you beat the slot machines? Or would you have spent recklessly and eventually turned to robbery? Let me know how you would handle something like this powerful slot-beating device in the comments below. And while you're there, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. The awesome videos here on World List are even more fun than casinos, and you won't want to miss the upcoming ones. Number 8, Richard Marcus. Roulette is a simple game, yet it's one that takes a lot of incredible luck to win at because you're betting on a single or set of numbers that could have a roulette ball fall onto and thus earn you money. Basically, it's a real game of variance and odds. Unless, of course, you're Richard Marcus, because he found a very clever cheat that wouldn't cost him too much money if he played it right. To put it simply, he went and made stacks of chips with a small monetary value, but at the bottom of these stacks was a high money chip. The dealer wouldn't notice this, though, given how the stack appeared. If Richard won on the next spin, he would reveal the big chip and thus collect a lot of money. But if he lost, he would go and swap out the bottom high-value chip for a low-value one to ensure that he could keep this going and eventually strike it big. Obviously, this is very much a long game kind of con, but trust me when I say he really cleaned up, because by the time he was done with his little chip scam, he had made over $5 million. So was it cheating? Of course. But as the old saying goes, it's not cheating if you don't get caught. Plus, he was doing this in Vegas, and what's one of the main attractions in Las Vegas? A magic show, which he performed every time at the roulette table with his incredible and profitable sleight of hand. Number 7, Ida Summers. There's little doubt that if you're trying to scam a casino, it takes guts, and Ida Summers most definitely had that to spare. She also had looks to spare, which was part of the con itself. You see, she would go to blackjack tables and would do what is basically card swapping. How? She would use her looks, charm, and social skills to make the dealer feel at ease around her, thus not putting any fear that she was about to cheat them in their minds. And then she would swap cards in and out at will to go and help her with her winning hand. And it worked. She brought in thousands because of this scam. But the thing that really makes her a legend in the cheating game is that she would later up her game and switch out whole decks of cards when no one was looking. They were arranged in such a way that the various players at the table, not just Ida, would get the wins. Now eventually she was taken down by the FBI and taken to court. But she again used her charms to only get off with probation. And there's honestly no way to tell how much money she took before getting caught. What a sharp lady. Number 6. Luis COLAVECCHIO. This next con is honestly rather simple, elegant, and as you're about to find out, super effective. You see, Luis COLAVECCHIO wanted to go and make money off the casino's slot machines, but as the old saying goes, you have to spend money to make money. And this was fine in theory for Luis COLAVECCHIO, but he wanted to stop the trend of buying more coins only to lose them in the slot machines and get little returns. So what'd he do? Well, he made fake coins. No, really, he went and made fake casino slot machine coins that the machines would accept, and he would keep putting them in at very little cost to him until he hit the various jackpots on the machine. Not only did this work, but he also raked in about $500,000. And just take a second to think about this. This was kind of a double cheat, because not only was he not spending money to make money, he was also not giving the casinos their cut, because you can't count value of fake coins. Plus, if they didn't realize they were fake, then they'd just use them again, which would add even more layers to this cheat. This shady character made coins so good that casinos couldn't even distinguish them from genuine tokens. Truly a master of his craft. Number 5. Invisible poker. With casino games like poker, it's important not to reveal your hand, but also try and gauge what your opponents have based on the information that's presented to you, which oftentimes is very limited. However, in France, a cheat decided to get a bit creative and use some invisible ink to mark the cards that he wanted to pay attention to. Of course, now you might be wondering, if he used invisible ink, how would he see what he's marked? That would be because he also used a special kind of contact lens, one that would allow him to see the invisible ink in question. Through this technology, he could look at the backs of cards and see what he had marked and played the poker tables accordingly. They were so good at this that they raked in about $80,000 a day, though it should also be noted that he was eventually caught and put in jail. Also, his technique was shown in an episode of CSI. It's a common theme in card games, and a number of different people have tried similar tactics, but who knows how many haven't been caught. Number 4. Phil Ivey. This is a very unique one, and it features a very high-profile gambler named Phil Ivey. He had been seen on the World Series of Poker and other circuits, and is one of the most famous poker players of all time. To put it simply, Ivey went to a casino in Atlantic City over the course of many years and realized that there was a problem with their cards. Specifically, there were subtle differences that if you paid enough attention to, you'd be able to realize what the cards were just by their shape and pattern. It sounds crazy, but it's true. And Phil Ivey knew exactly how to read those cards while playing Baccarat. So much so that he raked in $9.6 million in profit, which is an insane amount for any player to win. And yet he did it with just memorizing the cards. Of course, there's also a bit of a catch here, because eventually the casino got wise and decided to sue him because of his cheating ways. Which you could argue he wasn't cheating because all he was doing was looking at the cards that he himself didn't augment. He had also previously been taken to court in London, England for a similar cheat. Edge sorting is a real technique, but courts have ruled that it can be considered cheating and grounds for a lawsuit. Number 3. Gonzalo GARCIA-PELAYO. There are many ways to cheat in casinos, but what frustrates casinos is when people go and just observe things and use basic math and probability formulas to win. And that's exactly what Gonzalo GARCIA-PELAYO did once to great effect. His game of choice was roulette, and what he did was he just sat at the table and watched the wheel. And more specifically, he watched the ball. He would see where it landed and then wrote down the numbers, and later on went and made a computer model that would determine where the biggest likelihoods of landing were based on the spots provided. When he had the model, he went back to the casino to play, and he eventually won about $1 million. And it's all because he paid attention to where the ball landed. It's not cheating, and it made him a clean millionaire. Number 2. DOMINIC LORIGGIO. When you're throwing dice, you accept right off the bat that every throw, every bounce, every single thing you would like to have control over is not in your control. Here's the thing though, there is a way to break that lack of control, and DOMINIC LORIGGIO mastered it. He figured out a precise way to throw and determine where the dice would land numbers-wise, if you rolled it in a certain way. This might sound impossible, but it just took practice, and that practice led him to getting an untold amount of money. Dice control is a common and well-known tactic for winning at games like craps, but if casino employees sense that you might be doing it, they can try and bar you from that casino and leave you high and dry. Number 1. Bill Brennan. Are you a fan of the Ocean's franchise of movies? The movies are famous examples of massive casino heists to steal millions of dollars. If you've seen them, you'll know that stealing from a casino is not exactly the best thing to do without a plan. However, that didn't stop Bill Brennan. He was a cashier at a Las Vegas casino, and one day he simply took $500,000 out of a cash box and just walked out of the casino. You would think that he would be caught at the door or getting out of town, but he wasn't caught, at least not to our knowledge. In fact, he was never seen again. So not only was this a very basic way of stealing from a casino, it has a very simple ending. He got away. His whereabouts have been unknown for over 25 years. And if he's still alive, he's doing a really good job of hiding out, far away from authorities. Isn't that crazy? Thanks for watching. What did you think of this look at the various casino cheats and hacks that various players use to beat the house and get lots of cash? Which of these stories is the most interesting to you? Which crews do you think pulled off the best cheats? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to World List, and I'll see you next time.